Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanessa if you are new here. Now in this week's video, I am going to be showing you guys some of the new Catholic books that I'm adding to my bookshelf. So if you're interested in adding some new books to your bookshelf, then just keep on watching. Now the first book I have for you guys today is called A Daily Defense by Jimmy Akin. I love this book so much. It's kind of like one of those daily devotion books, but instead of a devotion, it's a daily defense for the Catholic faith. So each day, at the top of the page, you get a claim made by a different group, whether it be an atheist, a Protestant, maybe someone from a different religion. They make a claim, and then Jimmy Akin goes on to answer this claim in such a brief and simple way. This makes it so easy for even like the biggest apologist to the smallest apologist, just anyone who wants to defend the faith. He puts it in terms that is so easy to understand, and it's super cool because each day you are growing your mind. Sometimes we get into this thing where we just stop thinking that we need to learn, like we think that we don't need to go to school anymore, that we already know all the knowledge that we have, where this book challenges you to learn something new every single day, and I absolutely love it. I highly suggest getting it. I've had this book for a couple of months now. Actually, that's a lie. I've had this book for a month now. It just feels like it's been a couple of months. Mr. Trent Horn actually gifted me this book. That is why I was featured in my Catholic conference video. I want to thank Mr. Trent Horn so much for gifting me this book. I absolutely love it. This book is one of my favorites, and Jimmy Akin, thank you so much for writing it. I think you guys will also love this book too. The next book that I have for you guys today is one that I haven't read yet, and that's because I just picked it up today. It's called Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. Now, this is the book that a lot of Catholic apologists talk about. They always reference this book in their writings. And so I decided for myself that I wanted to pick it up. And so today when I was at the thrift store, I found it. So I found this at Savers for $3. And so I'm super excited to read this book for myself because everyone always quotes it. Everyone always talks about it. So it's about time that I get this book myself. Now, the next book I have to show you guys today is one that I do not physically have on hand, but it's called Counterfeit Christ, and it's by Mr. Trent Horn, which is my favorite Catholic apologist and probably my favorite author ever. He wrote this book called Counterfeit Christ, and each chapter of the book, he deals with this fake Christ that people make. So each chapter, he addresses this counterfeit Christ and explains why this Christ does not exist. This book is really easy to read for any individual. Mr. Trent Horn goes on to explain things so perfectly, so well, where I was dealing with topics that I thought were so confusing. He explained them so perfectly. So I suggest checking out this book, picking it up for yourself. I love it so much. The next book I have for you guys today is called Hard Sayings, and this is also one I don't have physically on me, but this is by Mr. Trent Horn. This is another book that I really enjoyed reading. So this book addresses Bible teachings that may be confusing or hard for us to understand, like parables or teachings Christ made or stuff like that, just stuff that maybe it's hard for us to grasp in this day and age. He goes on to explain what is being said here and how we can understand it. So it's a really cool book that you guys should read. I'm currently reading it right now and enjoying it so much. So I really suggest picking up this book as well. The next book that I have to show you guys is another one that I don't have physically on me, but it's called Made This Way by Layla Miller with Trent Horn. Now, I think you guys can see a pattern happening here. A lot of the books in this book haul are titled or authored by Mr. Trent Horn, and this is because Mr. Trent Horn was so gracious and so nice to provide me with these books. But this book called Made This Way is about teaching kids moral issues in this day and age. So each chapter of the book has a part where it talks about how to talk about moral issues with kids and with little kids and with big kids. So I have not read this book yet, but I'm looking forward to reading it so much because there's so many moral issues that we deal with today, like gay marriage or abortion, and sometimes we don't know how to talk about this with our kids or even with ourselves, how we're supposed to understand it with a Catholic perspective, because we are just being hurt. We just hear so many different perspectives, and the majority of them are not by Catholics. So this book will help us with that. So I'm not a parent myself. I'm not married or anything, but I know that one day I will be, and I will have kids, and I will have to teach them about these moral issues. So I'm looking forward to reading this book so that it could help me in those circumstances. And I know this book is amazing. Mr. Trent Horn said in his talk at the Catholic conference that he doesn't endorse books unless he stands by the author, or he believes that the author has footnotes. This is when he's talking about apologetics, but I feel like this also goes for a book like this, where he wouldn't endorse a book or back up a book if he didn't 100% approve the book. And I take Mr. Trent Horn's opinion very seriously, so I'm pretty sure that this book is amazing. So if you guys have young kids, or you're a parent, or you're a grandparent, or you're a teacher, or your older brother or older sister, or you just want to learn how to answer questions about moral issues for little kids and big kids, this is a book I highly suggest getting. The last book that I have for you guys today is another one that I don't have on hand, but it's called The Case for Catholicism, and this is also by Mr. Trent Horn. Mr. Trent Horn was so nice and so gracious to send me a PDF version of this book. That is why I can't physically show it to you guys today. But I love this book. Mr. Trent Horn just does an amazing job at explaining things. Now, I own a lot of apologetic books, and I think I talked about this when I got his Why We're Catholic book. I own a lot of apologetic books, and I think that I have enough information. I think that I've read enough information that there's no way that another person is going to teach me the same information in a new way. It's just them reiterating this stuff. That's what I was thinking. But Mr. Trent Horn takes the time to explain things that in a new way, in a way that they make sense more than I had already understood them. And this goes for The Case for Catholicism as it did for Why We're Catholic. In The Case for Catholicism, Mr. Trent Horn talks about a lot of topics that Catholics talk about, like sola scriptura, the papacy. He talks about that stuff in this book in a way that we can understand, and he does it for Jesus Christ. Now, this is a book that I know a lot of you guys have already read or you've heard of, but I highly, highly suggest getting it. He talks about so many important topics in the book, and I look forward to using this book and the information given in this book in my future videos. If you notice, I step up my game with my apologetics. Just know it's because Mr. Trent Horn sent me some amazing books over the last month, and I am so happy to be reading them and so happy to be gifted them from such an amazing apologist. So if Mr. Trent Horn, which I doubt he's watching, but if you're watching, thank you so much for all the books you sent me. Literally, my brain is so big now that I feel like my head has gotten bigger. I can't even fit in my hats anymore. I'm just so smart now. No, but I love the books. I love reading them. If you guys have never read Mr. Trent Horn's I highly suggest you do so. You can start out with Why We're Catholic, which is my favorite book ever, and then go on to his other books. You'll realize that he's probably also your favorite author as well. I'm getting all over the place. Honestly, I'm just so excited by all the books. I can't even speak. But these books are amazing, and I highly suggest picking up all of these books. I know a lot of you guys love these book hauls because you guys love buying Catholic books just like myself, but these books are amazing. I think this is one of my favorite book hauls I've ever done. One, because I'm just so passionate about the books because I've read a lot of them already, and I also know the author firsthand, and I know who he is on paper is exactly who he is in person. So I can tell you firsthand that you are not going to regret buying these books. It's not a waste of money. It's honestly an investment in your life, an investment in your faith by buying these books. So I suggest checking them out. I'll have them all linked down below or written down below the name of the books and their authors. I also have all my other book hauls linked down below so you guys can check those out. Please, if you like this video, please give it a like. If you like me and you want to see more of me, then hit that subscribe button. Also down below, there's an About Me section, and it also says my current subscriber count. So if you guys are interested, that's it down below. So thank you guys so much for all your love, all your support on all my videos. I look forward to seeing you guys in my next one. Bye-bye.